Brett Hamfling and Bryce Gelman here on Fireside Knicks. A quick reaction video because we felt that the trade deadline was crazy. 21 trades made in the NBA. The Knicks
love it.
One of those. We're going to talk about that deal, and we're going to talk about deals that weren't made today because today was crazy. I mean, I was looking down at my phone every 5 minutes, Brett, there was a new trade. And I was hoping it was the Knicks.
My screen time at the end of the day is just going to say 24 hours. You were on your phone the entire day. And Twitter.
That's most NBA fans. Most NBA fans today, whether it be Shams or Woj, either one, you're getting constant notifications. But props to them. Great job today. Great job yesterday for the Knicks, trading for Josh Hart, the guard from the Portland Trailblazers. Instant reaction to that? What do you make of that?
So, I was caught off guard. There was a slight report a couple hours earlier the Knicks were interested, but I just didn't think it was going to happen because Portland's kind of in a win now with Dame Lillard, and I just didn't expect it to happen. So it caught me off guard. Josh Hart is a player I've liked for a while. He's someone who, when I saw I guess it was Shams notification, I was like, wow, we got a good player. It took a while to figure out exactly which picks were a part of it. It ends up being an hour before there was real clarity on what pick it eventually ended up being. So it ends up being Cam Reddish, an our 2023 first-round pick, lottery protection. I see you shaking your head. So the way I break this down is, in my head, I like Cam as a player, and I know you do too. In my head, he was already cast aside, which I don't agree with, and that's kind of a different conversation. But once he is cast aside and he's not playing and they're set on trading him, or not playing him, I like the trade.
Right, but here's the thing. They traded 2 first-round picks for Josh Hart.
Yeah, two.
And they wasted
non-lottery first-round picks.
It still adds up. With the amount of guys that the Knicks have been missing out of, they keep getting these picks when they're bad, mid to late lottery. Guys end up being really good after that or really good before that. And the Knicks trading 2 first-round picks, I think either way, if they're lottery picks, not lottery picks, they're still first-round picks. They have some value.
But
I'm just saying, you're throwing them away for a guy who's good, but you used the first one on a guy who barely played.
Okay, and you do this a little bit, and it's natural, but that's already done. It's not 2 first picks. It's Cam Reddish and a first pick because maybe that trade was bad, but you can't go back. At this point in time, we have Cam Reddish, and if they don't like him, they're essentially trading someone they're not playing and a first-round pick. Now, we can talk about the first-round pick because first-round picks are valuable. We did protect it, lottery protected.
We're not getting it.
Well, yeah. Well, I'd rather not.
Watch this. We're gonna be the 16th pick, and they're gonna get it.
If it's the 16th pick, it's semi-rough. But here's the thing. We have Dallas's first-round pick.
Top 10 protected, but yeah, we'll get it.
Yes, which is going to get it. With the way this team is, and we're not an amazing team, but we are somewhat deep. And they did the same thing this last draft. They're not going to want to roster 2 rookies. They're not. So when it came down to it, if we had both picks in the draft, they probably would do something similar to last year where they flip it, move back, maybe get a player. So that helps me that helps me a bit because I don't love the idea of trading a first-round pick for a player that doesn't necessarily move the needle. There's a potential, we should say that there's a potential he's just a rental. So he has a player option for about, I think it's $13 million.
I think he's going to take that.
I think he'll opt out of that.
His value does not lie in the high teens. He's making as much money as he should be making in the league. And I think also the idea of him playing with his good friend, Jalen Brunson, the Knicks aren't going to go out of their way to give him an extension. And I don't think other teams, especially with how much talent there is in the league, I don't think any team is going to go out and offer him $15+ million.
I disagree. And either way, even if they don't offer him more than that, he'd rather take a 4-year, $60 million contract, 15 each, than just play on a 1-year deal.
I don't know how you give a protected first-round pick of yours for a guy that could leave at the end of the year.
Because they probably have a good sense that they want to keep him.
You're not winning a championship, though. I understand making the trade.
You can look at that as every trade if they're not winning a championship.
It doesn't matter, but why do you make a win now move when you're not in a win now state?
It's not
that's what they did, Brett. That's what they did. They traded for a guy in the middle of the season. they dumped a guy who they weren't playing and added another rotation guy in when the rotation guys that were in the rotation last year aren't playing this year. So you're adding another guy. Evan Fournier does not play minutes.
That's a different story.
But like it's all connected. It's all connected, and why you don't make that deal. But listen. Let me just say this: I like Josh Hart. I just don't agree with the matter that they acquired him. I'm happy that Cam Reddish is able to get some minutes somewhere else. There was no need to make this deal with your own first-round pick.
Okay, so let me just go back to you saying the thing is I don't think he's going to be a 3-month rental. I think they have a good idea that they want to keep him, that he has a CAA agent, which the Knicks are really connected. I think they have a good sense that they'll be able to re-sign him, that he wants to be here, Brunson, New York, the whole thing, and probably to somewhat of a reasonable contract. I don't know, 3 years, $45 million, something like that. Anyway, I think in their head they have that idea because it is pretty ridiculous to get him on a 3-month rental when he's not moving the needle. Like you said, we have other talent. But
I'm glad you agree.
But the thing is, I think they're thinking of this like a 3 or 4 year thing. We have the inside track to sign him, and you grabbed a player that you're going to keep on a reasonable cost.
Hopefully. All right.
We should talk about him as the player though, because we're already 6 minutes in.
Let's move on.
No, let's just quickly talk about his attributes.
We know he's a good defender. He can rebound.
That matters. He's a good defender. He's a really good rebounder.
I agree.
Solid scorer. He's shooting 50% from the field. He's shooting bad from 3, but he shot 37% from 3 last year on 6 attempts a game. That's the makings of a good player. And I know you're brushing it off, but
no, I'm not. I tweeted about it. I think it's a great acquisition. And the player they acquired, again, for the reasons they did and the way that they did it, not so much. All right, let's move on. We've talked enough about this. Let's talk about the potential Zach LaVine trade. It was reported around, I'd say 12:30, 1 o'clock. The Knicks were making progress on a deal with the Bulls for Zach LaVine, which would send 3 of the Knicks' top young core players and a first-round pick or 2 out for an injury-prone guy who has one of the largest contracts in the league and one of the worst contracts in the league. And let me just say this. Thank God they didn't make that deal. Thank God they didn't make that deal. Just for the price that it was and for the contract that would have hogtied them for 4+ more years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that report was BS. Who was that kid? I don't know who he was.
It wasn't a kid. It was a Chicago Bulls reporter. The Knicks camp never reported. I don't think that they want anyone to know that they had any interest. So I'm sure they had.
But I don't think that framework of the deal. I don't even remember what it was now because I just brushed it out of my mind. What was it? It was a couple picks.
It was 2, Grimes. Obi, Grimes, and I think Fournier to make the money work.
Yeah, I don't think that was happening. I mean, it's actually
Grimes. You don't trade Grimes, especially after they refused to trade him for Donovan Mitchell. You don't trade him for Zach LaVine. It's way worse.
Yeah, I don't think they want to trade Grimes or quickly at this point. I mean, obviously the trade deadline's passed, but things are going to come back in the summer. I think Obi's a guy they'll look to trade again. But I think this Randall, and we could talk Randall, maybe not, but this Brunson, quickly, Grimes, Mitchell Robinson just re-signed him.
Well, you got RJ.
But I think RJ is someone that potentially in the summer could be the centerpiece if we go after a Donovan Mitchell type.
He needs to show more.
He's got a 3-month. He's got a 3-month tryout, and I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have thought that would be a thing at the beginning of the season. But at this point, it's probably true.
All right, last thing we're going to talk about in this quick reaction video is Obi Toppin was shopped around the league. Apparently, Worldwide West, William Wesley had a very high value attached to him, which kind of sounds sketchy considering the fact that the Knicks play him anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes per night. Brett, I just don't get it. I do not understand what the disconnection is between the front office and Tom Thibodeau. Play him. Find ways to get him in the game. It's pretty simple.
I mean, this was a weird report. I don't even know if I believe it that much.
Listen, we know that they were shopping him.
We know they were shopping him.
You're talking about the report that. If they didn't make it,
you think William Wesley kiboshed any type of trade?
No, I just think that he's got significant influence in the front office. Leon Rose with James Dolan, he was telling his counterparts, "Hey, Obi's got this value. We're not trading him unless it's for more than that." And I think that it makes sense considering the fact that he wasn't dealt. And why would the Knicks want to hold on to an asset that's depreciating considering the fact he doesn't get any minutes. Like Obi Toppin cannot prove anything else that he's already proven because he doesn't get the minutes. Especially
you know what I mean,
adding a guy in Josh Hart. Like,
that's
Josh Hart's going to take away minutes from who? Like
the minutes thing is
Reddish wasn't playing.
The minutes thing is a mess. And my best guess is that all of Deuce's minutes are gone, which is upsetting, but I can live with. So that's what, 10 to 15 minutes a game. Then what'd you say?
That sucks.
Yeah,
he's just starting to find his stride. Like it's just like
I know he's shooting well. So let's say that's 10 minutes a game. Then I'm guessing Hart's gonna play like 25 minutes a game. I don't think he's gonna play the 33 he was playing. So then it's like 5 from RJ, 5 from Quickly, 5 from Grimes. And without Obi getting any more, it's tough. It really is. That is a different thing. We don't want to harp on it. We can talk about that next time. We'll probably talk about that after his first game. But
yeah, we got it.
But the other thing
because it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen how it's going to work out.
The other thing with Obi is maybe what does that really say about his trade value that it didn't happen? The offers might not have been there. I don't think they wanted to just grab a couple second-round picks back. I don't know.
That wasn't it. They were definitely asking for a first or another solid veteran piece with a team willing to take a risk. He's not like young. He was
no, he's not.
22 and he was drafted. Yeah. So like that's not a young, high potential guy. Like, yes, put it in a different situation. He could show you a lot more. There's a reason why teams didn't want to take a gamble on a guy who you're only showcasing 14 to 10 minutes a night. It's not good enough. And whatever you want to say about Obi and his minutes, the thing that concerns me the most is whether the report is true or not. It has to be because they didn't trade him. Is the disconnect between the front office and Tom Thibodeau. It can't happen. Like the front office has to have more pull with these rotations. If you want to showcase a guy, you showcase him. You tell the coach. And Thibodeau is way too stingy with these lineups.
Okay, showcasing maybe, but what about now? What about after the trade deadline? Do you think they should still have this? But do you think the front office should be deciding that? Now there's no showcase. It's just
yes, 100%. Yeah, I think the front office should be down his throat. They like, you got to do this or you're gone. Like, you got to start playing these guys who deserve the minutes. Out of the top 10 picks in the 2020 draft, Obi's played the least. And that's, not like far stretch of the imagination. Of course he is, because Julius Randle plays for Tom Thibodeau and he plays 37, 38 minutes a game. Like, there really isn't much wiggle room right now for Obi in his minutes. But all right, Brett, 13 minutes. We said we're going to keep it short. We're keeping it short tonight. For Brett, I'm Bryce. We'll see you all next week. Hopefully Josh Hart becomes something that he's not. Hopefully
superstar. Josh Hart's a superstar. Take care.
Come on.